Operation Pull Your Own Weight, I'd like to start out by making three simple observations. The first observation is that kids who can do pull-ups, commonly are otherwise known as chin-ups, it's the same thing as far as I'm concerned, are never obese. I have spent 17 years teaching school, physical education, and I personally have never seen a kid who can do pull-ups who is also obese. They don't come in the same package. I have surveyed lots and lots of physical educators, and I have never met a physical education teacher who has ever had a kid in school who can do pull-ups who is also obese. It just doesn't happen. So that's observation number one. Observation number two is if you start them young and you give them access to the right information, most kids, and I'm talking about 90%, if not 95%, most kids can learn to do pull-ups in a predictable amount of time. Okay, those two things make sense to everybody so far. This is real simple. So, observation number three is simply that if number one and number two are true, it's also true that most kids can naturally immunize themselves against obesity for life by learning and maintaining the ability to do pull-ups, to physically pull their own weight. Is everybody together on that so far? Okay, those are my three initial observations. That being the case, one way we can eliminate childhood obesity in Lombard schools within the next 10 to 12 years is that we take all the kindergartners, for example, in the fall of '09, and we give them access to this simple information and experience, and within that 9-month period you will have 90 to 95% of them who will have learned how to do pull-ups, which is to say they won't be obese and they are immunized against obesity for life as long as they maintain that ability to do pull-ups. How expensive is that? How complicated is that? Okay, now if you repeat that same scenario for 6 straight years, from kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, guess what? In the elementary schools of Lombard, you have suddenly eliminated childhood obesity. It's not there, non-existent, gone, forget it, period. That's how you eliminate it at the elementary level. Push that same scenario for 3 more years, 3 more groups of kindergartners, push them on up, and you have eliminated childhood obesity from grade 8 down. No more childhood obesity. And you do the same thing for 4 more years, and suddenly you have eliminated childhood obesity in the entire Lombard school system, and you are parading kids across Glenbard East who are not only picking up their diplomas, but who can all physically pull their own weight, and if they maintain the ability to do pull-ups, which takes all of 30 seconds once a week, they will not be obese for the rest of their life. And you not only get rid of the obesity problem, but you also get rid of the expense problem and all the related medical problems that go with it, okay? Now, as simple as that is, you can imagine that we get some criticisms and some objections and so forth. All right. First thing that we always hear is this, Coach Osbourne, how can you talk about childhood obesity prevention without talking about nutrition? Our kids are swimming in a river of Big Macs and curly fries and milkshakes and pizza and candy bars and candies and cookies. How can you talk about childhood obesity prevention without talking about, teaching those kids how to eat right and making sure that they're eating the right stuff? You can't do that. My answer is simply this. The pull-up bar, in this case, is omniscient and all-knowing. The pull-up bar knows if you're eating wrong, or if you're putting on excess luggage, and you start out with the ability to do 5 pull-ups, guess what happens to your performance? Down, 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 down. If you put on enough, that pull-up bar will not allow you to do one. All right. Along the same line, if you start getting rid of excess baggage, if you get rid of 10, 12, 15, 20 pounds, even if you don't gain an ounce of muscle, guess what happens to your performance? Goes up automatically. The pull-up bar knows if you eat right or you eat wrong. So my answer, as far as nutrition is concerned, is you let the pull-up bar do the teaching for you. You don't have to say anything. Kids want to be strong. If you want to get good on that pull-up bar, you're going to eat in such a way that that you can do your pull-ups. And if you want to get better, you get lighter. You get more efficient. Okay? So that's my answer as far as nutrition is concerned. I don't want to get complicated. I want to keep it simple. The pull-up bar knows. Second conversation or second objection we get is, we're in a world full of video games and TVs and couch potatoes and sedentary kids, and we have to have daily physical education, and we got to have kids out for recess and running around after school and all this kind of conversation. That's all well and good. I have no problem with any of that happening. By the same token, I want to say the same thing about exercise as I said about nutrition. The pull-up bar knows if you're getting enough exercise. If you can do at least one pull-up, I guarantee you that you're getting enough exercise to avoid obesity. You cannot be obese if you can do one pull-up. If you can do 5, you're even better. If you can do 10, you're a gymnast. Okay? We get this objection. Kids hate pull-ups. Does anybody associate or identify with kids hate pull-ups? We've heard that a lot. And my answer to that one is simply that it's not pull-ups that kids hate. It is failing in front of their friends or being humiliated in front of their friends. That is very uncool. And kids hate that. That's really true. By the same token, if you put them in a position where they succeed immediately and they continue to succeed and get stronger and stronger week after week, month after month, all year long, and every time they let go of the pull-up bar, they get congratulated and high-fives from their friends. Guess how long it takes before kids fall in love with doing pull-ups? In the 4-year period that I specifically worked with this program in Davenport, Iowa, back in the 90s, we had to build a fence around the pull-up bar in order to keep the kids away. And that's, yeah. Here, for example, we had a second grade teacher who had a friend that was teaching out in the rural area of outside of Davenport, and that teacher wanted her kids to have a city type experience. So this second grade teacher brought her kids in to Darius Spotton's second grade class. They had 50 kids in class, and they had an agenda. At the end of the agenda was recess and pull-ups. They got to the end of the day, they didn't have time to do both, so they put it up for a vote. They had a choice. Kids had a choice between recess and pull-ups. And I am here to tell you that 50 out of 50 kids voted to do pull-ups instead of recess. That's the kind of reaction we had at Jefferson Elementary School in Davenport, Iowa. So kids do hate pull-ups if they're humiliating themselves in front of their friends, but you put them in the right situation, and that's simply not the case. Genetic issues always come up. Suppose Johnny has a mom and dad who are both morbidly obese, and has 4 grandparents who are morbidly obese, and 8 great-grandparents who are all morbidly obese. Isn't Johnny just predestined to be obese himself? The answer is, if Johnny can do what? Johnny can do one pull-up, he's not obese. I don't care what his gene pool is, period. If he can do at least one pull-up, he's not obese. We've got economic issues that are involved in childhood obesity. If you live in a bad neighborhood and you don't have access to the right grocery stores that don't have fruits and vegetables, and all you have is a McDonald's on every street corner, how can a kid possibly avoid obesity? My answer is, show me 10 kids who live in a horrible neighborhood who have no access to a good grocery store that can do 10 pull-ups, or that can do at least one pull-up. Guess what? That's 10 kids who are not obese. Simple as that. Every time. Environmental issues. Psychological issues. I'm through my objections here, but it just simply doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't care if you're a boy or a girl. I don't care if you're a Kiwanis member or a Rotary member. It doesn't make any difference. If you can do a pull-up, you simply cannot be obese. Period. Okay.
Maybe the Rotary guys.
All right, now here's a thought. implementing a program like this nationally